much fun. Why being a divorce lawyer was so much fun. Luke Farrell.
Thank you. I used to be a divorce lawyer, but I'm not a divorce lawyer anymore. But the experiences that I had as a divorce lawyer were so titillating and interesting that I just couldn't help resisting sharing two stories with you today. Now, the first story is about the excitement that you get in traveling to exotic locations. Now, we were acting for the client, who was a very delightful, probably 50-year-old woman. She was Lebanese. She was fantastically wealthy. She lived in this enormous house in London, kind of like a miniaturization of Downton Abbey. You've seen Downton Abbey? Compress that to the size of a house, and that's pretty much where she lived. She had butlers, she had maidservants, she had valets, the works. Now, she woke up one morning to find that her husband had abandoned her. He'd just gone, vanished. So that's why she came to our law firm. Things had been going bad for a while anyway, and that was the final nail in the coffin. So she instructed us to draw up what's called a petition of divorce on the grounds of abandonment. Now that presented us with a slight problem. How do you serve a petition of divorce on someone when you don't know where that person is? Okay? Bit of an issue. Under English law, you have to touch the person's shoulders with the divorce papers. So what we did was we hired a private detective to find out where this guy was. And this guy was Lebanese. He'd made all his money in oil. He was fantastically wealthy. So it just took like a couple of weeks to find where this guy was. And he was living in a place called Thunderbird Cove near LA. And he also bought a place in Beverly Hills, which is where he was living with his mistress. And at that point, the client, the wife, turned to me and said, Luke, I want you to serve the divorce petition personally on my soon-to-be ex-husband in Beverly Hills. So, I got to travel first class with British Airways. Wow, that was great for a 24-year-old. Would you like some champagne, sir? Oh, yes, please. And then 10 minutes before takeoff, how about another glass of champagne? Oh, I don't see why not. That's great. So, 10.5 hours later, when I arrived in LA, I was feeling, I was feeling a little shaky. I didn't like overindulge or anything, but I was tired, I was jet-lagged, a bit too much coffee, too much drink, and I was ready to crash out for the night. Oh, that wasn't going to happen. The problem was I just discovered when I met the detective at the airport that the following day, the husband was going to fly to see the Kentucky Derby. So if we were going to get him, it had to be now. Okay? So we picked him up in his car. He picked me up in his car, and we drove to the Beverly Hills residence, and we waited for him, and he wasn't at home. He was out partying or doing whatever with his mistress, and he didn't actually show up until like 5 o'clock in the morning. Now about 4 o'clock, I was beginning to get triple vision. Triple vision? So when you see like 3 of everything, you start to get really delirious and you begin to wonder why you're alive. Well, that was the state I was in when he finally did come back. But then my adrenaline took hold of me, and the detective pointed him out to me, and I rushed out with the divorce papers, and I was just about to tap him on the shoulder when this man appeared from nowhere. Apparently he had a bodyguard. I wasn't expecting a bodyguard. So my attempts at serving him were completely thwarted, but it was a great adventure, and we managed to serve him through another legal process in the end. Now my other story is about, again, we were acting for the woman, the wife, and she was probably in her mid-60s, a little older, and the husband was also in his mid-60s. Now they had a young 19-year-old, attractive, blonde Danish girl who would come once a week to clean their house in West London. And he liked her. He liked her a lot. In fact, he so much liked her that he took her away, eloped with her in secret for 2 weeks to this island called Lanzarote, which is off the coast of Africa, supposedly without his wife knowing. But what he didn't realize was a week before, his wife had been rummaging through his clothes drawer and found amongst all the bizarre sex toys and dildos that kept her buried from the middle of nowhere, a plane ticket. So that was very useful information because we now knew exactly when he was going to come back. Now I want to finish this speech by describing the scene that ensued when he got back with the 19-year-old Danish girl at the arrival's departure at Gatwick Airport. My job as a lawyer was to serve him, again, touching him on the shoulders with a divorce petition. And oh my God, I wish it had just been me doing that. It would have been so much easier if it was just me there, serving him with a divorce petition, get the whole matter done and dusted, no emotions, no ugly scenes, but no, it wasn't going to be that way. She wanted to be there because she wanted to get her own back in him. She wanted to catch him red-handed. So I had to be there, the senior partner I was working with had to be there, then she was there, and she had 4 children who were also there. So there were 8 people milling around, waiting to pounce upon this poor luckless fellow. I must admit, even I was feeling kind of sorry for him by this stage. And so I served him with a divorce petition, and then what happened was, the scene was as follows. He was basically being screamed at by his wife in a voice that could be heard from one end of the terminal building to the other. The 4 children were all in tears and crying and also screaming at the husband. The Danish girl was sort of too young to sort of understand what was really going on. I just found the whole thing incredibly funny. It was like a fit of hysterics. And then there was, there was me, rather shamedly retreated into a corner, and I was beginning to wonder about, the meaning of life and what earth was I doing in this situation. I mean, there are situations in life where things go so horribly wrong that you just have to sit back and laugh. Thank you.